The North and South Rivers Watershed Association is seeking volunteer citizen scientists to help count the horseshoe crabs to determine whether their population is on the rebound after years of overharvesting. We headed over to Duxbury Beach one Saturday morning to meet the Watershed ecologist Sara Grady and our citizen scientists as they took to the shoreline counting horseshoe crabs.
We're doing horseshoe crab spawning surveys, trying to count both the density of crabs, the number of crabs per meter along the beach, as well as the density of females along the beach. And that is a measure of the spawning index, so how much the horseshoe crabs are reproducing. We typically have 5 rounds of horseshoe crab surveys, and within each round there are 6 surveys. The surveys are centered around the full and new moons in the last half of April, the 2 in May, and 2 in June. And for each of those, we're doing 3 daytime surveys and 3 nighttime surveys. So typically those are happening in the middle of the day and then the middle of the night. Horseshoe crabs are an important species to the ecology of our estuaries and our bays. And recently, their populations have declined in many places along the Atlantic coast. So we are doing these surveys to understand how their populations are doing and also to assess how effective the state regulations for horseshoe crab fisheries are by tracking them year after year. Our volunteers found out about the surveys through a couple of different ways. It went out on our Watershed email list. We had press releases in the local papers. And when a volunteer comes, they essentially will be very slowly walking along the beach for about a half-mile total, and measuring the number of horseshoe crabs, counting the number of horseshoe crabs in 5 by 5 meter squares. We'd like to see that there's a stable, possibly increasing population of horseshoe crabs in Duxbury Bay. I'm one of multiple people who are doing these surveys all around the state and all around New England and actually all the way down to Delaware Bay. And it turns out that in many cases, the populations are very bay specific. So they're not really moving around a lot. So by tracking all these different bays, we're able to understand how horseshoe crabs are doing on this very local scale, as well as on a statewide scale and a coast-wide scale. And all of that information is able to be used to calibrate the regulations at the state level and also on a regional level with the Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission.